Hello and welcome to SU4J. Somebody phoned up the podcast and left a message and reminded me of that phrase that the witnesses always used to say, and I've said it as well. The Bible isn't a scientific book, but where it touches on science, it's surprisingly accurate. And I thought, it probably is surprisingly accurate, but I've never really looked it up at all, have you? So I thought, now I've got the time to do some proper research, I'll find some surprisingly accurate facts for us in the Bible. And I found some very surprising facts. In fact, so surprising that I don't know how anyone has managed to get an education in the sciences, the arts, the humanities or the earth sciences without reading the Bible. Let me share some of these surprisingly accurate facts with you. So, first of all, in Deuteronomy 3:11, we've got an account of King Og. We didn't talk about King Og much, did we, at Kingdom Hall? I don't know why. He sounds ace. King Og, the king of the giants. The king of the giants. Am I reading a fairy story? I'm sorry. Am I actually reading a children's bedtime book here? Sorry. King Og, the king of the giants, had a bed that was 9 cubits long by 4 cubits wide, obviously to accommodate his greatness. You wouldn't want to have an affair with him, would you? 13.5 feet by 6 feet long. In a way, the bed's not the best thing, is it? Just the fact that there's somebody in the Bible called King Og, who was the king of the giants. On medicine, again, shockingly accurate. Numbers 21:8 gives a cure for snake bite, which is good, isn't it? Because normally if you get bitten by a snake, you've got to whack it on the head and take it with you as you run to the anti-venom hospital, so they know which kind of snake has bitten you, so they can get the appropriate anti-venom. But there's a much easier way to cure a snake bite. I don't know why we've not been using this method for hundreds of years. The cure for the snake bite is to look at a replica of a poisonous snake on a pole. And the beauty of this method is you don't have to have the exact poisonous snake that bit you. It just says the replica of a poisonous snake. So arguably it could be anyone. It's such a simple remedy, isn't it? Don't you find the simple things are the best? It probably works a treat. On biology, Leviticus 11:23, it says, word for word in the New Silver Sword, all other winged swarming creatures with 4 legs are something loathsome to you. Right, back up a bit. Winged swarming creatures. So you're thinking like locusts and things, little insects swarming, insects swarm with 4 legs. Can you see that picture in the Dr. Seuss book? That I can see 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg, 4, 4 leg, 5 leg, 6 legs more. Look at all the funny things. And there's these pictures of all these animals with different numbers of legs and big bother boots on the bottom. So, which insect were it that had 4 legs? But hang about. We shouldn't mock this, should we? It could have been that these insects were born near Chernobyl, couldn't it? Some kind of nuclear incident back in the day, BC, that spawned some swarming 4-legged insects. Funnily enough, we didn't talk about those too much either, did we? Oh, did you see that 4-legged insect in your garden, Mabel? It was loathsome. On genetics, another highly accurate way to do genetic engineering. You don't need to faff about with splicing genes and all that kind of stuff. In Genesis 30:37, it talks about Jacob, who cut sticks with spots or stripes in them. So he peeled away the bark and made either spots or stripes. And it said, so the flocks would get into heat in front of the staffs. Oh, the goats giving it a bit of this in front of the staffs. Oh, that stick's making me randy. Come over here, you horny goat. Well, I am a horny goat, actually. That's my technical title. No need to use it as an insult. Come over here, you horny goat. Oh, no, I'm not reading now. I'm just making it up. Right, I'm reading this bit. So the flocks would get into heat in front of the staffs, and the flocks would produce striped, speckled, or colour-patched offspring. Of course they would. Of course they would. Surprisingly accurate. It's not a scientific book, but when it does touch on science, it's surprisingly accurate. I'd be bloody surprised if my horny goat looked at a spotty stick and had spotty babies. There's another one in 2 Samuel 21:20. It says, there was a man of great stature. Now think of the most simple person you can think of, a real simpleton. Put his voice on and then say it in his voice. I'm going to do a Forrest voice because that's the kind of person I think might be simple. There was a man of great stature that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. That's in case you couldn't count up 4 6s because you were actually as thick as the person telling you this story in the pub. 24 in number, and he was also born to the giants. We're back to the bedtime storybook. Now I'm sorry, but if somebody tells you about a person with 6 fingers and 6 toes, you're generally making a bit of a joke about an area of people that you think are stupid or inbred. In my area of the world, we laugh at people who live on the New Forest, not the New Forest, the Forest of Dean, and we say, oh yeah, they've got 6 fingers each, and it's an insult. But we mustn't laugh at this account because there was an elder in my congregation when I was a child who, based on the back of this account, said, we don't know what perfection is like. Perfect people might have 6 fingers and 6 toes. And he postulated that when we got into the new system, we might all grow an extra digit. Woo! We might all grow 6 fingers and 6 toes. 24 in number, in case you can't count them. I don't know why he became a pirate. He didn't really become a pirate. He stayed an elder until he died. And will we be born of giants? I don't know. It's exciting to find out. And here's my last surprisingly accurate scientific fact from the Bible. I'm touching on geography. We've covered it all, haven't we? Medicine, biology, genetics. I'm going to finish on geography today. 1 Kings 1 verse 14, it's talking about when they anointed Solomon as king. And it said, all the people went up playing flutes and rejoicing greatly, so that the earth was split open by their noise. They created an earthquake. Their flute playing was so horrific. Like Les Dawson on the piano, but sort of Israelite flutists instead. It was so awful. They created an earthquake. Who knew that could happen? Isn't that like a bit like that old joke when you go, if all the people in China jumped at the same time, could we knock the earth off its axis? It's one of those, isn't it? If all the people in Israel played flutes really badly at the same time, could we cause an earthquake? Well, you'll be surprised to know the answer is yes. Surprisingly accurate, the Bible. Thank you for listening to another SU4J.